You know the way you sign up for something and it's months and months away and you're like, that'll be grand, everything's going to be fine. Well, the time is now, because this Friday, on the 17th of July, a group of us from Team OTB will be kicking off the run and ride for Pieta with a sprint duathlon. It's going to be broadcast live here on OTB AM, or as much of it as we possibly can, and it's all with thanks to BMW and Triathlon Ireland. Bell Park Triathlon running coach Emmet Dunleavy is with us. He's been working with Team OTB as a running coach slash guru slash psychologist over the last 6 weeks. Emmet, good morning to you. How you doing?
Good morning, lads. How are we?
Should we just stop? Is the last week just about tapering now? Our work is done, or am I desperately trying to put some miles into the legs for Friday? What am I supposed to do to try and rescue the situation?
No, your first statement there hit the nail on the head. At this stage, the work is done. The only thing you can do in the last week before a race is mess it up. You're not going to gain any more fitness at this stage. Once you get into the last 7 to 10 days, the work is done. You need to keep ticking over. A little bit of, I'd say one run and one bike early this week would be enough to just keep the body primed and ready to go on Friday morning. But don't try and push anything. Keep the big effort this week for Friday itself.
When you say one run and one bike, is it just short? Like, is it like 2 kilometres, 5 kilometres? What should they be?
Yeah, so I mean, your event at the weekend is 5k run, 20k bike, and 2.5k run. So I would say for your run this week, you're probably talking 3 or 4k. You could probably do, maybe 1 or 2 pickups within that run of around 30 to 45 seconds. Again, just to keep the body primed and ready to go on Friday morning. And likewise, if you're going out for a bike, I would say probably 10, maybe 15k, but easy. And keep those early in the week that if your event is on Friday morning, you want to be certainly taking Thursday off and maybe even Wednesday off as well to get ready.
What do you actually eat on the day of an event, and when do you eat? Because this is something that we said that we'd become experts on this over the course of the 5 or 6 weeks. But it turns out life gets in the way when you're training for stuff like this, and I'm not entirely sure what the right thing to do on the day of an event is when it comes to actually getting some nutrition in that's not going to make you feel, oh, shouldn't have done that.
Yeah. The first thing I'll say is the nutrition on race day is something that for a lot of athletes, they kind of put an awful lot of emphasis on, and they think that this is going to be a magic bullet or a game changer. It's unlikely to be unless you get it drastically wrong. So, I mean, if you stick to what you normally do on the days that you're training, you're not going to go too far wrong. Given that you guys are starting, I think it's around 8 o'clock on Friday morning, would that be right?
Yeah, a little bit early.
Yeah. So, I mean, to run you through what a pre-morning ritual might be for an 8 o'clock start, it would be a case of getting up nice and early, sort of 5:30, that your body is awake and that you have plenty of time to wake up and digest your breakfast beforehand. I mean, for some people, 5 o'clock would be a difficult start time, but for you, you're well up. You're well used to getting up early in the mornings anyway, so that shouldn't be an issue. I would normally suggest getting up, going for an easy 5 or 10 minute walk, or some of the elites what you would find would do an easy shakeout jog the morning of an event. They do a 5 or 10 minute jog. I wouldn't advise that. And come back, have a shower, and then have your breakfast, a light breakfast, and eat what you would normally eat. So for some people, that might be having, your porridge or your oats. For others, it might just be a slice or two of toast, whatever you normally eat. The other thing that I would usually advise people to do is have some coffee. And again, that should be, I suppose, something that you're used to. If you've never drank coffee before a race before, don't go touching it on Friday morning. It is performance-enhancing benefits, and it helps on the endurance side of things, but it also has some, nasty consequences if you haven't been somebody who drinks coffee beforehand. So that would be a good thing to add in. Try and have your breakfast done and dusted by 6 o'clock, and then you've got 2 hours to digest it, relax, and get ready for the race itself.
And in terms of pace, right, the one thing, so I've never done this before. We did last year the relay, so everybody did a little bit, and the thing that was very noticeable was as soon as we started our section of the relay, you went at it hell for leather and were completely wrecked 15 seconds later. It was like, oh my God, I can't believe what did I, because the adrenaline just kicks in. Now, that was in the midst of huge crowds of people and people cheering you on. It was really hard not to get carried away by the fact that you're in the middle of this thing, which is genuinely a race for some people. How do we stop that from happening?
Yeah, avoiding taking off too quick is definitely one of the main pieces of advice I'd give you. I suppose good rule of thumb is in the early stages, and when I'm talking early stages, I mean over the first 1 to 2 minutes of both the run and the cycle, I would suggest if it feels right in terms of pace, it's probably too quick. Because our perception of what we can sustain for long periods of time tends to be a little bit distorted by the fact that you're excited, adrenaline is flowing, and obviously for you guys there's a bit of competition between everybody as well. So keep that in mind, is that if you feel that the pace is right in the early stages, it's probably too quick, drop it back a gear and drop the intensity a little bit. In any endurance event, what you would like to see an athlete do is do negative splits, which means that they're doing the second half of the event quicker than the first half. And in order to do that, you need to pace yourselves pretty sensibly in those early, I suppose for you guys, for the early run, for that first 5K, and for the first maybe 5 to 10K of the bike, that you're keeping it conservative. And then you're allowing yourself to pick it up in the second half of the event. And if you can't pick it up, then you're already going quick enough anyway. But you'd be surprised when you do start out that little bit slower, try and work your way through the pace in the middle part and push hard towards the end. It's definitely the optimum way to approach it, rather than going hell for leather for that first 15 seconds. You've
seen the Strava stats and figures over the last while. Who's going to win, Emmet? What's the order going to be?
It's what I'm going to do is give yourselves. I'm going to go through your Stravas again today and give you a little bit of guidance in terms of pace. There's two front runners at the moment. Shane and Tommy are out in front. So if you were getting Paddy Power on board for this, I think they will be the bookies' favourites as it stands.
And more importantly, who's going to finish last?
That remains to be seen. I'm not going to make any such judgments.
Well, if you even want to do it in the privacy of our WhatsApp group, feel free, because we will 100% leak that to the general public.
Excellent.
Emmet, it's been great. To be honest, I kind of see the benefits of the regular little bits of advice that you've been giving us, because early on, running especially, it's very easy to lose faith, and it's very easy to kind of lose the sense of progress. But like, I've never actually run 5K in my life until 2 days ago for the first time ever, and it was like, actually, I can do this, But I did that by virtue of the fact that I was able to build it up over 5 or 6 weeks.
It's a fantastic achievement for people who've never run before, and hopefully there's a lot of people who've been following this over the last couple of weeks. And I think during the lockdown period, an awful lot of people took up running, took up cycling. And as you say yourself, I mean, there's a great sense of achievement regardless of how fast or slow you're going. And with any of these, either running or cycling, it's really about improving yourself, because no matter what level you're at, there are always people, a little bit faster than you and a little bit slower than you, and it's really just self-improvement and enjoying is the main part of it.
100%. It's great having you with us. Thanks a million for being part of our journey.
Best of luck on Friday, guys.
Thanks a million. It's Emmet Dunleavy there, who is a triathlon coach himself. That's all part of the BMW Run and Ride for Pieta. So, and you managed not to do it. It's live this Friday morning on the 17th of July here on OTB AM. So I'm going to go and do that, and then I'm going to come in and do the evening show, and you're going to be sitting here, essentially scratching your ass.
That is 100% the plan. How are you feeling about it?
I look forward to the week of rest this week, somehow making it happy and easy that it's going to happen and finish.
What is it again? The exact breakdown of the race?
5K, 20K, 2.5K. I think, it might even be, is it 7? I'm not sure. It's certainly...
How have you found getting on and off the bike and the jelly legs?
Not great. No, I'm not going to lie. I haven't done it that much, but did it yesterday and was okay for like 1.8K after a 30K cycle. So there's a real chance somebody doesn't make it all the way to the finish line. That we're going to be one of those, in the old westerns when somebody would get shot with 4 arrows and they'd be like, oh, heroically, go on without me, leave me behind. And you're like, yeah, okay, we're leaving you behind. There's a good chance that I'm going to be one of those people who's like, oh, go on without me. And I'll be like, yeah, okay, great, we'll see you on the other side. So,
I don't think so. I think if you've done a 1.8K run after a 30K cycle, that's only 700 more metres with a 33% reduction on that cycle time. You're going to be fine.
The 5K run before that.
That is true, I guess.
That's the killer. It's the running is the hardest part, especially when you're now big boned and hardy handsome, I think is the phrase I'm looking for. When you're big boned like me, carrying around all that stuff. Right, 21 minutes past 9 here. Graham Souness joined Joe on yesterday's OTB and spoke to us about his own relationship with Jack Charlton.